Conversation, and we're going to jump online and go back to the big green screen over here to my left, your right, and Sam Evans-Brown. He's the executive director of Clean Energy New Hampshire in Concord, a good friend of mine, a former reporter of New Hampshire Public Radio. Look at that smile.
Look at that smile.
Isn't
right
he
there.
awesome?
Look at that smile.
This dude is just maxing and relaxing here on a June day.
Lighten it up.
Sam, how you doing, man?
I am great. I'm coming to you guys actually from Waterville Valley Resort, where I was speaking to the folks at Ski New Hampshire, where a lot of the ski resorts are starting to get serious about doing things like installing electric vehicle charging and procuring their energy from renewable sources. And so I was asked to come up and present, which is why I'm coming to you from a deck. And I will disclose, I do have a beverage to my left. So I'm doing great.
That's beautiful.
On this.
There are no FCC rules that prevent drinking
beer. Not at all. You are free and clear, my friend.
So Sam, let me help formally introduce your effort here. I've known you for many years as your time at NHPR, but Clean Energy NH advocates for the clean energy and energy efficiency sector and directs vital programs, just like it says on his t-shirt, and initiatives that will accelerate New Hampshire's transition to cleaner and more efficient use of energy, like what they're doing at Waterville Valley. So why did you make the change to jump out of public radio, which in and of itself is a community service, to do this particular work? What called you into it?
That's a really great question, and it's one, in fact, that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, because being the executive director of a nonprofit is really hard. And so over the course of the past year, I've had to ask myself that question over and over. But really, I was an energy and environment reporter, and in 10 years of doing that job, there are a lot of issues that are very complicated and which the path forward is not terribly clear. But I would really argue that at this point, transitioning to clean energy is not in that category. The economics have shifted. It actually will save our economy huge amounts of money to shift to renewable energy and result in a cleaner environment and sort of more livable indoor spaces as we build more efficiently. And so it was getting to the point where my opinions were becoming too strong for me to stay in the journalism role. And when this position opened up, I had known Clean Energy New Hampshire as the credible advocate who I could call when I wanted to understand these questions. And so the position was just too good to pass up.
So Sam, let me ask you this. I mean, you're talking about, you just basically, it became your passion, right? And that's what you wanted to follow up on, because that's what in your heart, you feel like you're making a difference. So let me ask you this. In our state, how has our legislature responded? Are we moving in the right direction? Are we making gains and moving there?
I wish that I could give a different answer to this question, because at its heart, Clean Energy New Hampshire is a bipartisan organization, and we have many folks from both parties that we work with really closely, and they're champions on both sides of the aisle. But the answer is really that New Hampshire is starting to fall behind, and it's starting to fall behind in ways that I think are scary to businesses in New Hampshire. And in particular, I'm here at Waterville, and the ski areas are looking around and they're seeing that all of the other states in New England are aggressively investing in electric vehicles. The projections are that 50% of electric vehicle sales will be, 50% of vehicle sales will be electric by 2030. And they're looking at those targets and they're saying the Boston market is going to have to decide where they want to go to ski, and they're going to go to the ski areas that have chargers installed, and we have no state level incentives to make that happen. And that's just one very small issue, but in issue after issue in the clean energy sector, New Hampshire has become the hole in the donut. The states all around us are moving aggressively, and we're starting to fall behind.
All the more reason, right, with an event like this here today at New Hampshire Gives, for people to find that out, to hear that, and then go to the website, stay on the website, and check out your organization at Clean Energy New Hampshire, right?
That is exactly right.
Smile. That's good.
Sam, I've actually got some good news for you. We actually have a $10,000 match for you with Clean Energy tonight. So if you want to help Clean Energy New Hampshire, you can give now and double the donation. So we're going to be able to give that a little bit of an extra push. But beyond the donations and some of the finances that we're really hoping to direct your way tonight and for the next 24 hours, if folks want to get involved in some way, shape, or form, they're hearing what your message is, they understand the hole in the donut analogy, and they're looking to fill that hole with some maybe some legwork and some good old-fashioned shoe leather, what would you like people to do?
Well, listen, as soon as you become a member of Clean Energy New Hampshire, we're going to plug you into all of our resources that will keep you appraised of all the things that are happening at the New Hampshire level. And the thing that I would say to folks is that, there's a lot of attention paid to federal bills and federal energy legislation, but a lot of energy policy is made at the state level. A lot of your electric utilities don't cross state lines. And so they're not actually, because of the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, they're not federally regulated. So a lot of really impactful decisions happen at the state legislature and at the state Public Utilities Commission. And so we will keep you informed of those occurrences when you get onto our newsletters and when you get plugged into the various policy calls that we do every week during the legislative session to let folks who are interested in clean energy know what is happening here in the Granite State. But also, we have all sorts of initiatives. So Drive Electric New Hampshire is one of our initiatives. You can help to organize a Drive Electric event in your community. You can get involved in creating a local energy committee in your town, and we have staff who will help you stand that up. And once it is created, help you actually get projects completed in your town, so you can start to move the needle at the local level. And that's once you become a member by donating to Clean Energy New Hampshire, that's what we'll get you plugged into.
So a website, Sam, that people can go to, and I also like to ask, do you have, is there something on the website that maybe lists the simple little things that people can do that, in a larger sense, can make a difference in clean energy?
Yeah, well, so it's interesting that you asked that question, because there are many resources on the internet that will direct you to individual choices that you can make. And that's really not necessarily what we're about. Many of our members, we have many member businesses who can help you to achieve your clean energy goals in your personal life. And if you head to our website, which is cleanenergynh.org, you can get plugged in with those member businesses. But really, we're about the next step, right? Which is that you say you've made the changes in your life that you're looking to make. How do you make sure that your community changes, and how do we make sure that the state keeps making progress? And that's really what Clean Energy New Hampshire is working on. So the website, cleanenergynh.org.
Sam, I'm curious, do you find yourself proselytizing out there in the trenches from town to town, or do you feel like what you're saying and what you're doing is already a priority, it makes the connection, and the people of New Hampshire are generally on board? This is not a kicking and screaming exercise. What do you see?
No, I mean, it's a really interesting question, because what I have found is that when I go out into the community, many people are interested in this. And there was a gentleman who told me at one point, and I won't name names, but a gentleman who you might think is sort of on the other side of the aisle, other side of the chasm on this issue. And what he said to me is like, listen, clean energy is like motherhood and apple pie. And I think that's true. And the second point was, though, it's got to be affordable. And this is where the good news comes in, which is that, over the past 10 years, in particular, I think the most shocking statistic is solar energy, which is that the price of solar energy has dropped by 90% in the last 10 years. And really, if you were to invest in solar on your own home, it would have a better return on investment than investing in anything you could put in your 401k or your 403b or your simple, your Roth IRA. And so really, these technologies have reached a level of maturity where it's really just common sense to be putting our money into them. And that's the story that I've been trying to tell as I go around to these communities.
Hard as it may be, the job of being a director of a nonprofit organization, which it definitely is, you got all the heart in the world, man. You can feel it. Just seeing it in your face and hearing you talk about it, you are 1,000% committed. So congratulations and continued success. And I hope that through tonight, through New Hampshire Gives, people go to and help out Clean Energy New Hampshire. So that's great. So thank you very much, man. We appreciate it. Good to talk to you. You got it.
Thanks a lot. Sam Evans-Brown, the Executive Director of Clean Energy NH in Concord. Thanks for your time. And
he lights it up.
He does.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's talking from the heart.
I don't want to brag or anything, but I got a response from a New Hampshire Public Radio reporter who thought my question was interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
I just want to point that out.
Man,
I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, you're up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're solid.
You. He's a good dude. I've known Sam for a long time, and he's bright and articulate, as you can obviously tell. But that's the kind of project work that I think is another really cool example.
Yeah.
We talked about Meals on Wheels earlier. We've talked about a number of different programs, but there's one that is impactful to the environment. And when I hear a conversation like that, and his point that this is not a partisan conversation, that it's bipartisan, you know who I think about? I'm reminded of someone like Judd Gregg, former former U.S. Senator, former governor, executive counselor, who was someone who was a conservative Republican, fiscally conservative, always managing the bottom line. But he prioritized environmental issues. And he left a legacy of a lot of conservation lands and trying to conserve energy, even back when he was governor and senator. So Sam's right. You know, it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. If it's common sense and it's getting cheaper, you got to look at it.
Also, just based on the examples that he gave, you know, like I would never have thought, oh yeah, we should have electrical charging stations for cars at ski areas.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, look at all the people that we know. I mean, New Hampshire that is a destination for skiers. They come up from Massachusetts, they come down from Canada, Maine, and Vermont, because we have some unbelievable ski areas, and it makes perfect sense to have, you know, those kind of charging stations, because that's where it starts. You know, you have to be where the people are going. And so that's a key point.
I agree. That is a very good point. It's a very pragmatic one. So it's about 6